On today's MMA T Company Fight Preview, I have Gordon Wigington. Gordon is making his professional debut on March 11th, CFFC 92 against Eric Fimbers. Gordon, how you feeling? How is everything going leading up into this fight?
I feel good. Feel ready to go. Not tired of, but I'm just ready to get to the fight, make the weight, get to the fight, and have some fun, get started.
Awesome. And I know, for you especially, it's been a pretty long layoff, even longer than COVID, right? So we were talking a little bit beforehand. You were like, I've been waiting my entire life for this. So how does it feel not only getting back into the cage, but also finally making that walk to your first pro fight?
Uh it's weird. Like it's like a mix of emotions because like with any fight, there's anxiety and everything else. But the crazy thing about this being like a pro fight and not an amateur one. Before as an amateur, I was like so wound up and like ornery, hostile, like just ready to go, almost too psyched out, like making it too much bigger than it needed to be. And they were practice fights.
Mhm.
So, but like now that this is a real fight, I don't know if I mean my coach has been doing a really good job of like being honest with me, telling me where I am, the progress that I've made, things like that, and being able to keep things in perspective. It's like I mean, this is the life I chose to do.
Mhm.
So there's no point in being all wound up or being grumpy about the weight cut or any of that other stuff. I don't have to be there. I'm choosing to be,
Mhm.
and it's a big opportunity for me. So just take care of business. So it feels a lot different. It's a lot more. I'm a lot more calmer than I normally am, I guess. The anxiety of the fight comes and goes, which is natural, but no extra nerves or anything like that.
And you spoke about your coaches a little bit. So you're training still down at NPR, is that correct?
NPR Endurance, EEFC, Henzo Gracie, Philly.
Okay, so between those two rooms, you're surrounded with not just phenomenal coaching, but also, talent from regional guys who are destroying people to amateurs who could probably be pros to, pros on the biggest stage fighting in the UFC. What does that do for your confidence going into this fight, being able to be around, those kind of guys day in, day out?
That's a double-edged sword because a lot of times, like you see a lot, it can work against you, it can work for you a lot of ways. Like a lot of times you'll see opponents' names come up and you see what gyms they train at, but they train at Sanford, they train at MMA Masters or ATT. That don't mean that they are those guys that are down there. It just means that that's where they train at.
Mhm.
But if their training is anything like our training is, there's no way they're not getting better because of the talent level that's in that room. That's number one. And number two, the talent that is in the rooms that I frequent is pretty high level. So it's hard sometimes to keep your confidence up when you're going against those kind of guys every day in training. Like you're learning something every day, and you can try to implement new things. But I don't work with anything other than other complete monsters. So like, and I mean like monsters. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but I feel great. I mean, I love all my teammates. Everyone does such a good job of being there for each other when the other guys are fighting. Some of the coaches can't be there, keeping guys positive and just grinding away and making sure everyone understands everything that we're doing because it's all one team, it's one dream, everything's one common goal. Our guys to get our hand raised. So yeah, I mean it's great to be honest, but sometimes it's great. It's great.
And it sucks, right? Getting beat down by somebody who maybe have that your number that day, and it happened to me, plenty of times in the gym where you're just leaving the gym, you're like, man, I feel like I'm not
Just
getting
ride home in
better, yeah,
silence,
and
just
not listening to
do the
music or
speed
anything,
limit,
just
do the
constantly just
speed limit, staring
sad.
out the window, contemplating your life.
Yeah,
No,
so
it's not even just that. It's just like I think like the mentality I've kind of adopted now is that I'm not too concerned with like winning the practice rounds.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, of course you want to do well in practice. Of course you want to be able to see your market improvements and everything, but it ain't about winning in practice. It's not about getting one up on your teammates. It's about getting better every day. And that's all I've been doing since my last amateur fight in 2019, I think it was.
Mhm.
I've been going to the gym and getting better every day. So yeah.
And you spoke about your coaches and how they're very real and honest with you, and they tell you where you may be lacking in something, where you have to work on something. What are some of the things that you've really focused on since that last amateur fight in 19?
Ooh, I think the biggest level of focus for me is probably equally. I think everything technique wise, I've been I've been hitting pretty hard. But the biggest focus has been with what my strength and conditioning coach, Johannes, is like a brother to me. But my strength and conditioning coach with Havoc Training Systems, he's been kicking my ass. So I think that might be the biggest difference. And being in fight shape is great and everything, but what that does for you mentally, like keeping you mentally strong, pushing through those kind of workouts, being put in unfamiliar situations and things like that. So I think like my mental game is different now, and my physical fitness is not remotely anything close to the same to what it was. It's levels higher thanks to him. And then even with Coach Eric and Coach John and Coach John's room, man, it's you better pack a lunch if you want to come train and make it through one of his sessions, because he's going to make you feel like you're in hell. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the hell sessions Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings. When I'm not working, I can make those sessions. They're brutal, but they show you exactly what you need, what's important. So.
Yeah, and they kind of, if you can make it through those sessions, a lot of coaches' mentality is you'll be able to make it through a 5-minute fight, right? They want to make it so that you have absolutely nothing left and can still, get up off the cage or, defend that last takedown, do whatever that is.
Even with all that stuff, what I know what Coach John, one of his biggest things are, he wants us to be able to operate with some urgency when we need to. Like not be out of control and be rushed, but to operate with in those short, like you said, in those short time periods, we know if we're doing interval rounds in the room, if we know we got 30 seconds to work to get our takedown or to get back up, when that comes to the fight, we should be able to excel in those situations and implement the things that we've been working on, because we work this stuff every week. The whole system's getting worked. All the positions are being gone over and everything else. The same thing with Coach Eric. Erica has been going through a sequence of things where I'm in certain positions where I know to go to. There's no thinking about it. There's no hitches. There's nothing to process. We know that position. We know what to go to in that position. So I'm super thankful for all those guys. They just everyone's getting me ready.
Yeah, and that operating with urgency, you see it so many times in fights when a guy might be, he's down on the scorecard, he got taken down, he's still got like 2 minutes left, and he just doesn't seem to show any urgency in getting up or trying to sweep, throwing submissions up off his back. And that's where that urgency, I think, really comes into play, is if, you do find yourself in a bad spot, when it's time to go, but like you said, not out of control. You just
fighting to not lose versus fighting to win.
Exactly.
Yes. Like, I don't want to get finished.
Correct.
No, we want to win. It's not about not win. Yeah, it's not about not losing the decision or not getting subbed or not getting TKO'd. It's about winning the fight. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest part. It's, like I said, the mental game and the mental approaches and the aspects. I think that's probably the biggest part about being in that room with all the crazy deep talent. You know what I mean? Seeing guys like Brady or seeing guys like Sabatini, like the way those dudes compete and around, and the mentality that they take through training, like that's the stuff that rubs off on you, that helps in the everyday, day-to-day room with talent like that. And them and the coaches is a pretty good formula.
And you've been there for a little while. You said that they're getting you ready for this fight. Now you're about 8 days out. So how are you, just feeling mentally? How's your body holding up? Is there, bumps and bruises? Or are you just like, I'm good to go, I'm ready to cut this weight and get in the cage?
This is the most fresh I've ever been going into a fight, mentally and physically. Yeah, the workouts that I've been doing have not been for nothing. Mm-hmm. The work, the rounds, and everything that I've done with everybody, that haven't been for nothing. This is the best I've ever felt going into any kind of competition. So I'm in a good spot physically. I'm in a good spot mentally, and I mean that's not to discredit anything about the fight or that it's going to be an easy situation or anything like that. Of course, if anyone that's ever really fought, that's ever really competed, you always get those jitters, you always get that like anxiety. That's still there, but I've never faced any of that stuff the way in the condition that I'm facing it now, and like I'm ready.
So. And it's always better to, because you're going to have, those, like you said, the butterflies or whatever it is. It's better just to have them about the fight in general, instead of sitting in the back right before you walk out thinking, did I do enough? Right. That's not a feeling you ever want to have.
Have it about the scenario, the environment, not about yourself, not about the work. You can't, if you're going into a fight questioning your work, then you didn't work hard enough. Mm-hmm. My coaches
100%.
make sure that when they're around and when we're in classes and we're in sessions, we're making sure we're working. They don't hold anyone's hand. They don't babysit nobody. If you're going to work hard, you're going to work hard. But so when you're near them, you're going to work hard. So that rubs off on you, and that makes you do the extra things or do the right things when you're not being watched to make sure you're still ready. So,
and speaking of getting ready, you're fighting Eric, who also is making his pro debut. You said, before we started talking here, he's tall, right? I think you said he's 6'6".
6'6" tall. Yeah.
So probably the tallest opponent you've ever faced. How do you prepare for someone like that? How do you game plan for someone that's 6'6"?
The same way I game plan for anybody that's 5'11" or 6', 6'1" or 6'2" or what. None of that stuff matters. We're 2 arms, 2 legs. His are probably a little bit longer. But we still got to go in there and get into a fight. So be prepared. I think if you get too involved in being opponent specific, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. I'm not training to beat certain guys. I'm training to be the best version of myself that I can be, and then go put that product out there and see where I stack up.
Awesome, and we're real excited to see it. Before I let you go, I just wanted to get your take on the main event of the UFC card coming up this weekend. A lot of people talking about Izzy versus Jan. Just wanted to see what you think about it.
I think you and I might be on the same page about this, but I'm pretty sure Izzy takes it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to discredit Jan or anything that he's accomplished or achieved. I think he's a great fighter. I don't think he's bad or any means, and it's not even necessarily that I think Izzy is the overall better fighter than him. I don't think the weight thing is going to matter too much because of the technicality that Izzy operates with. So I think that he takes that. I'm actually more interested in that Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling fight. I think that fight's going to be crazy. And I'm super, super interested in one of the early prelim fights. My boy Sean Brady's fighting Jake Matthews on the early prelim. You want to talk about a guy who can do everything, who's super talented, who is showing me things, levels to the game and levels about MMA and ourselves that I wasn't really tapping into before or seeing before. Sean Brady's that guy, and I think he's going to impress a lot of people Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I'm excited to see Sean fight. I know Aljamain Sterling's been talking a lot of trash on Peter Yan, so interested to see how that fight goes as well. I think it's probably the best card that the UFC's put out in a while. It's a lot of great matchups.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's definitely the most stacked card. Probably the best card since the best lineup, I would say, since last February when Joanna and Weili fought. That was the same night that Izzy and Romero fought. That Joanna Weili fight was insane. But yeah, I think this might be the best card since then, top to bottom. But yeah, it's going to start with Sean Brady still in the show in the early prelims. Then you get Dominic Cruz on the featured prelim against Casey Kenya. That's going to be a great scrap. But then you got those fights on the main card, 3 title fights, and you got Makhachev on there. I think it's going to be a really good card. Alexander Rockets fighting Thiago Santos. That's a crazy fight. Those dudes are huge.
They are
fucking humongous for 205. So the whole card is great. But my boy Sean, he's gonna get it started and get everything going on a good note.
Hell yeah, man. We're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to your fight as well. Before I let you go, just want to flip it to you. Any shout outs you want to give to anyone that's been helping you out along the way? Floor is yours.
Johannes Havoc Training Systems. Any performance athletes, any kind of any realm, he's the guy you need to be getting in contact with if you want to take yourself to the next level. NPR MMA, of course, as always, Coach Eric's been there for me from the very beginning. No other place I'd rather be to learn how to compete. And then Marquez MMA, Henzo Gracie Philly, EFC, all those, Coach John and Coach Daniel, they've both taken me under their wing and they both shown me a lot of things. So shout out to all of those guys and my sponsors, you guys, of course, for the t-shirts and everything that you guys do. You make it seamless for me. So I definitely appreciate that. So shout out to you and Alex. All above tree service. Shout out to those guys that are taking a chance and sponsoring a kid with a dream. I can't say how thankful I am for that. So definitely shout out to them. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. All my teammates and coaches, and 8 more days we get to do it. We get to see where I am. So it'll be good.
Awesome, Gordon. Can't wait. Making that pro debut, CFFC 92, March 11th. We're looking forward to it. I'll see you on the other side.
Later, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.